Mist hangs over a reed-bed pond. A shadow inches along the margin where water gloss meets black mud. The bill moves like a metronome. Down, pause, withdraw, then slides apace and repeats. No splash, no chase, just certainty. The head stays low while the eyes, set high and far back, watch the open air for danger. A worm jerks, unseen. The bill tip pinches. The body barely stirs. This is shorebird probing mud as a craft, a quiet arithmetic of touch. In a world with few hiding places, the hunt becomes patience, the shorebird that outwits prey in the mud, and the outcome measured one probe at a time. Marsh edges, wet meadows, and flooded fields breathe with insects and annelids. Here, a slender-legged forager works alone or in loose company, timing searches to damp soil and falling light. Cryptic browns and bars erase its outline among cut sedges. When flushed, it bursts into a zigzag, then drops and vanishes. But the signature lies in the bill, long, fine, and alive at the tip. The name arrives now, the snipe, and the anchor follows. Snipe hunt strategy, the shorebird that outwits prey in the mud. Snipe feeding behavior is deliberate rather than frantic, a sewing machine motion that samples, assesses, then commits. Wetland bird adaptations stack to make this possible. Panoramic vision, long toes that don't sink, and a bill built for long-billed bird prey detection in darkness. Here is the paradox, exactly as asked. How do snipes detect and target prey they cannot see or hear? Mud hides movement and blocks sound. The prey is soft and silent. The strike window is narrow. Yet capture rates remain high. The front of the bill holds a dense bill tip organ, packed with pressure and vibration-sensitive herbst corpuscles. Studies indicate these receptors can read tiny deformations in wet sediment and thin films of water, a kind of remote touch that flags a wriggling larva from a motionless root. The tip can open while the base stays shut, distal rhinchokinesis, so the bird grasps without lifting its head, preserving aim and stealth. In this frame, snipe hunting strategy is a loop. Probe, feel, micro-adjust, seize. The timing is fast. A pulse of pressure from a fleeing worm is brief. The bill must answer in milliseconds. Field observations suggest the bird also maps soft spots, returning to micro-patches where past probes paid off. Long-billed bird prey detection starts before the strike, in the decision of where to set the next step. One hypothesis, mechanoreception first, holds that the bill tip organ does the heavy lifting. By pushing the bill into saturated mud, the bird senses prey-generated pressure gradients and faint vibrations. The brain filters that pattern from background noise of flowing water and its own movement, then steers the tip toward the peak. The payoff is precision without sight. The limit is physics. Dry substrate dampens signals. Coarse gravel scatters them. When conditions degrade, misses rise, and the bird shifts to wetter seams or shallower probes. Snipe feeding behavior flexes with the medium. A second hypothesis emphasizes biomechanics and access. Distal rhinchokinesis lets the tip act like fine forceps, while the rest of the bill remains braced. The tongue and palate form a brief suction to lift prey loose. This coupling of feel and action makes targeting efficient once a signal appears. Trade-offs surface here too. A long, flexible bill is vulnerable. Ice, grit, or hard seeds can damage the tip organ and dull the channel for weeks. In lean seasons, the hardware that wins can fail. A third hypothesis centers on strategy. How to decide where to probe when the prey is invisible. The pattern looks like informed random sampling. Birds space their probes in short arcs, then stretch or tighten the arc based on recent hits. A learning rule that statisticians would call patch assessment. Memory stitches the wetland into a grid of expectations. Snipe hunting strategy, in this view, is an algorithm. Begin broad, narrow around success, reset when returns fade. Scientists still debate how much chemical information, taste or dissolved cues, contributes to the choice, and nobody knows why some individuals show sharper maps than others under the same conditions. But the behavior holds across species and continents, rewriting what we thought we knew about how touch alone can guide a perfect hunt. The architecture of the head protects the method. Eyes ride high and back, giving rearward fields while the bill points down. A predator's glide becomes visible without lifting the face from work. Wetland bird adaptations extend to gait. Light steps spread weight, so the bird doesn't punch through crust and disturb the water table that carries pressure waves. When danger nears, the body freezes, then the next probe resumes at a new angle, same square meter, different message. Shorebird probing mud succeeds because stealth and sensing are welded into one motion. Even the failures sharpen the rule. In gravel or compacted clay, probes shorten and frequency drops. After rain, when oxygen dwindles near the surface and worms rise, the rhythm quickens. On cold mornings, it slows. Snipe feeding behavior rides these cycles without ceremony. The day's ledger shows more than prey. It shows thresholds. How soft is soft enough? How wet is wet enough? When to shift from deep stabs to shallow touches. Long-billed bird prey detection is not just anatomy. It is context read through a tool that also listens. Dusk folds in. A narrow bill enters the mud, pauses, then lifts a thread of life from below the surface. The bird swallows and steps, head still low, eyes scanning the rim of the reeds. Can touch alone guide a perfect hunt? The marsh answers, with each quiet success. Snipe hunt. Strategy. The shorebird that outwits prey in the mud persists as long as sediment stays wet, fields flood, and the bill tip organ can feel the world's smallest motions. If soil's dry or the microfauna thin, the map may blur, and what seemed inevitable will look impossible to explain. For now, the method works, and the trace of it is a line of barely visible dimples that vanish as the water smooths. A record as untraceable as the bird itself when it lifts and zigzags into dusk.